Welcome back to Mindful Gains. I'm Bryce, and we're talking about the third agreement, which is don't make assumptions. I've been guilty of this one. So the mind can develop its own story based off of just pieces of a story. And when we assume things, we're pretty much believing that what our assumptions are automatically true. More than likely, they're not, because we don't have a full picture. We don't have the full scope of whatever situation is that we're making these assumptions about. And that assumption is missing one thing. It's missing all the facts. Our mind is trying to connect the dots without having all of the dots there. Assumptions cause us to take things personally. When we take things personally, that's when we're not impeccable with our word. That's when we can kind of go off. We can get ourselves into a lot of trouble doing that. We assume things because we have a fear of asking questions. We have a fear of going to somebody and actually saying to them, hey, can you help me understand what you mean by this? Can you help me gain more clarity on what it is you're trying to convey to me, what you're trying to tell me? We have a fear of that. It's a fear of judgment. If you ask questions, you're stupid, right? Of course not. But that's what we've been conditioned to believe. So a lot of assumptions that we make could be corrected or not even happen if we would communicate a bit better, if we were willing to ask more questions. You ever notice that your mind can create a whole scenario in there, up in here? It can create its own story, its own narrative. Before you know it, you mad at somebody because of the story that you done drummed up here. You haven't asked any questions. You haven't gone to the person and said, hey, is this true what I'm thinking? You ain't even done that. We just moving along with the movie that we've created up here. And that creates a lot of conflict. A big area that we make these assumptions is in our relationships. Whether it's our intimate relationships with friends, any relationship pretty much. We have a tendency to think that our partner is supposed to automatically know exactly what we're thinking, exactly how we feel, because you're my partner and you're supposed to know this. And then we get mad at our partner if they don't know it. And that's asking a lot from somebody, isn't it? You asking a person to know what you're thinking at all times. To know what's on your mind at all times. That's tough. We think that we don't have to communicate exactly what it is that we may need in that moment or we may want in that moment because we're under the assumption that this person already knows. And that can lead to a lot of suffering. When you think somebody else is supposed to see life through the same lens that you see life through, a conversation can go a long way. The right questions can go a long way, especially with the right person. When you're talking to the right person and you ask questions, you ever experienced that? The conversation just flows. They asking you questions, you asking them questions, not just making assumptions and just assuming that, oh yeah, they must like red because they always wearing red. Maybe they don't. Ask them, yo, is red your favorite color? You know, get a clear-cut answer. You ever hear something, not completely understand it, but don't ask questions so that you can gain the clarity on what you just heard. You'll just take what you heard, misunderstand it or misinterpret it, and keep it pushing. And before you know it, days later or weeks later, you're going off of those assumptions that were born out of that misunderstanding and got you in a whole different world of shit now. We need to know the answer to things, but we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to ask the right questions. Instead of asking those questions for clarity, we'll just shy away from it and just assume, create our own story about it, misinterpret, misunderstand. When we start communicating more clearly and we're honest with ourselves, it changes the dynamic of things. Clear communication changes the dynamic. When we don't understand something, we just need to make sure that our communication is really clear. Hey, I don't understand exactly what you're trying to tell me. Can you maybe help me a little bit more on that? And allow the person to be able to peel back more layers for you so that you can have that understanding. So you don't have to assume. So you don't have to play the guessing game with them. And we have to make sure that we are seeking that clarity and that we're communicating our need for clarity until we understand what we need to understand. The way to not be so assumptive is to ask questions. And to be able to ask questions, you have to be confident within yourself. You have to be curious. We set ourselves up for success in doing that. But I know it's not easy. I still work on it myself. If this video provided you with any value, please be sure to check out my other video in this series. Don't take anything personally. Also be impeccable with your word and keep your eye out for that next video. Do your best. The fourth agreement. Y'all take care of yourselves, and I'm out.